This is the all-new BMW 5 Series. Now, one of the things about this car is the styling. It really is an evolution, and you'd be hard-pressed to notice it's a new car. The only way you really know is to see the slash down the side of the car, which is similar to the larger 7 Series. This car is just 3.6 centimeters longer, so ever so slightly longer. The wheelbase is just a fraction, just over a half a centimeter longer. Same for the width of the car. So on sides, it's relatively the same size as the outgoing model. What you get on this car are standard LED adaptive headlamps. You get wheel sizes ranging from 18 to 20 inches. The car I have here today is the 540, and it comes standard with 20-inch wheels. And the M Performance package that you see on this car, the larger air openings, bigger chin spoiler, skirts down the side, more aggressive look. And this is the way I would equip this car with the 540 engine and a much more aggressive look. But even with all of this, it's hard to notice the differences between the previous 5 Series and this one. Now, in the 2000s, BMW made some bold statements with Chris Bangle's designs for the 7 and the 5 Series. They were much hated by reviewers like me, but at least they stood out. And the one thing I think that BMW is falling short on is innovative design, which is hard to say because the head of design is Canadian. So it's still a practical mid-size family hauler, an executive car with a useful trunk and a large back seat, a mini version of the 7 Series. Let's get inside, talk about the new in-dash technology, and find out what this 540's like to drive. So BMW sticks with the familiar with their cars. They haven't changed the interior radically. And once again, you'd be hard-pressed to notice the difference. The screen is brighter. It's got an iDrive 6.0 now. The materials are always first-rate, especially in the mid and upper-level cars like this 5 Series. That's one area that BMW really excels. Fantastic materials on the dash and the doors. It's soft touch everywhere, all the way down to the bottom of the doors. Beautiful materials. BMW does seats better than most. These seats are fantastic. These are the upgraded, they're the 20-way adjustable seats with the massaging feature, and they really are first rate. In behind the steering wheel, you have an illuminated digital cockpit. We're seeing that across the industry as well, and a very comfortable and sporty steering wheel. My wife drove this car for a day, and she commented the one thing she loves about BMW, and we've had many in our family, is the big chunky feeling steering wheel. Now, in the center of the dash, as I mentioned, you get iDrive 6.0. On the screen itself is a new look and feel. You have tiles across the dashboard, and the nice thing is you can move them in any configuration you want. In addition, you can zoom and you can swipe on maps the same way you do on your phone. So car companies are trying to make the head units as intuitive as they would be in your phone. Now, speaking of that, BMW only supports Apple at this point, and it's a $750 option. In the center here, there's a pad for wireless conductive charging, which is kind of ironic for me because the only phones that have wireless charging up until actually the last week have been Android phones where they don't support Android in the head unit. Now with the iPhone 10 or the X, you can use that in the wireless conductive charging port. The look and feel of the buttons and switches is similar to the old car, but the textures and the feeling is just a little bit different and a little bit more upscale. Now, the biggest change, and the one that is the wow factor, is the fact that you can do gesture control now. You can turn the volume up and down by just rotating your hand to the right. Now, I don't want to do it with music because then I'll get a strike against me for using someone's copyright. So I'll use audio like talk station.
And they don't lose by much, you know, these short races.
And if you want to change the channel, you swipe to the right with 2 fingers and you go to the next channel.
What it is, you pointed out that it was a new normal.
So we'll stick with talk because I don't want to get that copyright infringement. Do it again, and so on. Now, do we need this? No. Is it cool? Yes. So driving along, turn the radio up.
Later this year, which I think means...
I don't know. I mean, well, but when you're this close, it's kind of gimmicky, if you ask me. Now, another area that BMW excels at is engine development and technology, and this car does not disappoint. Now, all the 5 Series come standard with all-wheel drive, and the M5 is going to be available with all-wheel drive for the first time too. So the 530 is still a 4-cylinder for the base unit, and it has quite a bit of horsepower. It's a turbo direct injection 4-cylinder with 248 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque that starts at just 1,450 RPM. And the car I'm driving here is the 540. It gets a 35 horsepower jump in power. It has 335 horsepower, which is 35 horsepower more than the old car. And the torque is 332 pound-feet, and it comes on at just 1,380 RPM. Then you add that into a car that's 100 kilos lighter than the previous car, and this thing absolutely handles like a dream. Then you add in features like the available rear steering that's in this car, and it really is amazing. It's quieter, it seems to me, as well, and that's a good thing because these cars have been plagued with run-flat tires in the past, and they were noisy and didn't feel that great, and I really don't notice with this one that there's an overly noisy road situation because of the tires. Now, BMW invests in a higher grade power steering system. It's an electromechanical system similar to what Porsche uses in the 911, and it's a variable assist, and that gives a wonderful feel in the city. At low speeds, it's nice and light, and it firms up at higher speeds. And as I mentioned, you get that rear steering, which takes it to the next level of dynamics. And I gotta tell you, in sport with this 540, this beautiful inline 6-cylinder engine with 335 horsepower. This is absolutely the one that I would get. Sure, the value one, if you want the 5 Series and you want the looks and have a prestige cars with a 4-cylinder, there's nothing wrong with that. But the 540 really is the sweet spot, the driver's car. This engine has always been the inline 6 a beauty. Now it just goes up to the next level. Here's a little secret. The best car in the BMW lineup is the 2 Series with this engine. The 240, that is the driver's car and an amazing value. So if 5 Series is too rich for you, look at the 2 Series. Same engine as this, 335 horsepower. That's a hell of a lot of car. Now, is it still the benchmark? You'd really have to do a back-to-back comparison with all the players. Everybody else is catching up. The gap is really quite narrow. It really comes down to personal taste and attitude and how much you can spend to equip your car. But would I be happy driving this car every day? Oh yeah, does everything effortlessly. The pull, the torque of an inline 6-cylinder is sweet. And everybody else has given up on 6 cylinders. BMW is stuck with it, in the inline I should say, and it's a very, very rewarding engine. And that is the star of the show, everything that's under the hood. Now the 530 starts at $61,500. This 540 at roughly $69,000 plus packages. And you can't just really buy one package that gives you everything. They break up the features you want into different packages. For example, if you want Apple CarPlay, that's in one package. You want heated rear seats, that's in another package. You want satellite radio, that's in a third package. You want added safety features, that's in yet another package. So by the time you equip this car, you can be well into $80,000, $90,000, which isn't cheap. You now in the Canadian marketplace have Audi within 1,000 cars of passing BMW in overall sales. That's incredible. 10 years ago, Audi was a tiny company. Now they could be passing BMW in Canada. Mercedes is about 10,000 cars ahead of BMW, where they always used to be tied. So I think their design is the one area that needs to be looked at. The cars look the same as they always have. They're not taking chances, and I think that's a shame because this is a great car to drive.